Hundreds of thousands of Jews were sent to the ghetto, but some heroes went against the Nazi regime, risking their own life to save others in Poland. One woman was one of the many unknown and almost forgotten heroes of World War II in Poland, who risked her life to save others, mostly children, during the German occupation. Who was Irena Sendler? What made her become one of the most inspiring people in modern history? How did she succeed where others had failed without being killed? What is her legacy today? Hello, I'm Colin Heaton, former soldier, Marine Corps Scout Sniper, history professor, historian, and book author. And we will answer these questions and other issues on this segment of Forgotten History. Irena Stanislawa Sendler, also referred to as Irena Sendlerova in Poland, and officially went by the name Jolanta, is perhaps one of the bravest women who ever lived. Sendler was born on 15 February 1910 in Warsaw to Stanislaw Henryk Krzyżanowski, a physician, and his wife, Janina Karolina. Her father treated the very poor, including Jews, free of charge, and he died in February 1917 from typhus contracted from one of his patients. From 1927, Sendler studied law for 2 years, and then Polish literature at the University of Warsaw, interrupting her studies for several years from 1932 to 1937. She opposed the discrimination against Jews and suffered from academic disciplinary measures because of her activities and reputation as a communist and Jewish supporter. Sendler joined the Union of Polish Democratic Youth in 1928. During the war, she became a member of the Polish Socialist Party, and as a result was denied teaching positions. During the 1930s, Irena Sendler worked as a social worker as part of the Free Polish University. Sendler became associated with social and educational units of the Free Polish University, where she met and was influenced by activists from the illegal Communist Party of Poland. In 1931, she married Mieczysław Sendler and lived in Besnica, and belonged to a group of social workers led by Professor Helena Radlinska. A dozen or more women from that circle would later engage in rescuing Jews. She was shocked at the extreme poverty among the Jewish population of Warsaw. Sendler worked as a legal aid counselor in the section for mother and child assistance at the Citizen Committee for Helping the Unemployed. This became the Department of Social Welfare and Public Health in 1935. She was concerned with children born out of wedlock and poor mothers, publishing 2 articles on that subject in 1934, and she became very familiar with Warsaw's poorest neighborhoods. In September 1939, Mieczysław Sendler was drafted and later captured by the Germans in September 1939 and was released in 1945. The couple then divorced in 1947. She later married a Jewish friend from the war, Stefan Zagrimski, who was born as Adam Chelniker, and they had 3 children. On 1 November 1939, Jews were removed from professional positions, including the staff of the Social Welfare Department. Jews were prohibited from providing any assistance to the Warsaw's Jewish citizens. Sendler and her colleagues began helping wounded and sick Polish soldiers by forging false medical documents so soldiers and their families would be able to receive assistance, including Jews. The Nazis sealed the Warsaw Ghetto during November 1940, containing over 400,000 Jews. Sendler and Schultz received special work permits, allowing them to enter the ghetto for health inspections. The Germans wanted reports on any signs of disease, especially typhus, cholera, and other potential pandemics. Using their access, they smuggled medications, clothing, and food into the ghetto, which was punishable by death if caught. Sendler knew that many of her friends were trapped in the ghetto, including future second husband Adam Chelniker. While in the ghetto, she wore a Star of David as a sign of solidarity with the Jewish people. Sendler's small group helped the Jews escape and smuggled out children. When the Germans started the Great Action in July 1942, they increased their rescue operation. Anyone caught, as well as their entire families, outside of the ghetto would be executed. Up to that time, the Jewish ghetto in Warsaw was a rather well-organized and functioning community, and it seemed the safest available place for themselves and their children despite the food shortages. Sendler's group smuggled out children that could be easily hidden and could be accepted and supported by Christian institutions, but these operations were restricted by the lack of funding. In addition, they had a priority on children imposed upon Sendler, who wanted to help orphans first. Others wanted priority given to the children of accomplished Poles, such as doctors, lawyers, professors, and intellectuals. Sendler also wanted to get her friends out of the ghetto. At this time, the deportations were increasing. Most of the Jews destined for the new camp at Auschwitz. Word had spread about what was happening. Many did not believe it, but Sendler and her group did. The Council to Aid Jews was an underground organization created and originally mandated on September 27, 1942, as it was led by resistance fighter and writer Zofia Kosek-Seszuka, but by that time most of the Jews were gone. Those who remained did so in hiding and were living on borrowed time. On 4 December 1942, the Zgoda, as the committee was known, was established and chaired by Julian Grabelny and financed by the Provisional Committee, the government delegation for Poland, a Polish underground state institution representing the Polish government in exile in London. From January 1943, Sendler's group worked as a coordinator, helping distribute money, but due to lack of funds, they focused upon the hiding of the remaining Jews. This would be the collective who would be involved in the 1943 Jewish Warsaw Ghetto uprising. During the 1943 uprising, private residences became a network of emergency shelters where Jews could be temporarily housed, especially the children, as documents were prepared and more secure long-term locations could be established. Under the command of SS Gruppenführer Jürgen Stroop, the Jewish quarter was ordered leveled by Heinrich Himmler, forcing Irena to rapidly get more children out as the buildings came down. She moved the children through underground sewers, hid them in luggage bags, and also using ambulances, faking illnesses or moving those who actually were sick. This was dangerous, as the Germans threw grenades into the sewers and used flamethrowers to flush out any Jewish fighters. Many children were smuggled through an old courthouse next to the ghetto, where a hole had been made in the wall that could be concealed when not in use. About 25% of the Jewish children were taken in by Polish families, large numbers taken into the Warsaw orphanage of the Franciscan Sisters of the Family of Mary, led by Mother Provincial Matilda Getter. The Roman Catholic convents, such as the Sister Servants of the Blessed Virgin Mary in Turkowice, took many children who were smuggled out. Other locations included the Rodzina Mary Orphanage and religious institutions in and around Chotomów, Turkowice, and Lublin. As the children were smuggled out, Sendler and others buried lists of the children's real names and the names of their families in jars in order to return the children to their families after the war should they survive. On 18 October 1943, Sendler was arrested and tortured at Gestapo headquarters under suspicion of helping Jews. She never betrayed her associates or the rescued children. She was then taken to Pawiak prison for more interrogations and beatings. On 13 November, she was transferred to be executed by firing squad despite no evidence being presented against her. Her friends, Maria Pellister and Zgoda chief Julian Grabelny, managed to save her by bribing the guards that she was traveling with, and she was released on the way to the execution. This was possible due to the British Royal Air Force's support. From August 1943 to July 1944, over 200 RAF flights dropped an estimated 146 Polish personnel trained in Great Britain, over 4,000 containers of supplies, weapons, ammunition, food, and $16 million in banknotes and gold. During the Warsaw Ghetto uprising from 1 August to 2 October 1944, Sendler worked as a nurse in a field hospital, where many Jews were hidden, among other patients. She was wounded by a German soldier while looking for food. This was lucky for Sendler, as Mühlenkamp sealed off the exits and his soldiers began interrogating captured Poles, including Sendler. During Mühlenkamp's interview, he stated that he personally interrogated her, seeing she was a nurse tending to the wounded under the name Klara Dabrowska, but he saw nothing that would suggest that she was a threat, and he allowed her to go. Those who surrendered and not executed were mostly sent to Mauthausen and Sachsenhausen concentration camps, and luckily the majority of the men captured in Polish uniforms were spared and sent to regular POW camps through the efforts of Mühlenkamp. It is estimated that over 1,100 Jewish children and hundreds of adults were saved from death throughout the war by Sendler, especially during both the 1943 and 1944 uprisings. She continued to work as a nurse until the Germans left Warsaw, retreating before the advancing Soviet troops. After the war, she resumed work as a social worker in the new communist Poland. She has been recognized by Yad Vashem as a righteous among the nations in 1965. In 1983, she was present when a tree was planted in her honor at the Garden of the Righteous among the Nations. She was also awarded Poland's Order of the White Eagle and the Jan Karski Award for Valor and Courage. She was twice nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize, but was unbelievably and incomprehensibly beaten out by both former U.S. Senator and Vice President Al Gore Jr. and President Barack Obama, both who had achieved nothing. In 1991, Sendler was made an honorary citizen of Israel. On 12 June 1996, she was awarded the Commander's Cross of the Order of Polonia Restituta. She later received a higher version of this award, the Commander's Cross with Star, on 7 November 2001. In 2003, Pope John Paul II sent Irena Sendler a personal letter praising her wartime efforts. On 14 March 2007, Sendler was honored by the Senate of Poland, and a year later, on 30 July, by the United States Congress. On 11 April 2007, she received the Order of the Smile. In her later years, Irena was cared for by Elżbieta Fikowska, who was only 6 months old when Irena smuggled her out of the ghetto. Irena Sendler died on 12 May 2008 in Warsaw, Poland. She was a true hero if there ever was one. We hope you enjoyed this segment of Forgotten History. Please click like and subscribe for free. And please stay tuned and be engaged and informed. Send us comments if you have questions or even show ideas, and we will respond to all requests and comments as soon as we can. Thank you.